morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a look at what is going on with Paldean Fates. Paldean Fates was a set which honestly took a little while to get going. It was a set that for quite a long time was just kind of chilling, moving along, doing its thing. Wasn't that big a set, was fairly easy to find. And I'm not saying it was everywhere below retail or anything like that. I'm saying that the set as a whole for a while was not one of those silly sets to find. It was out there on release. Well, I don't know if you guys have been checking lately, but I've been checking lately about what's been going on with the singles from that set, and I think the best way to put it is I really hope you've already got the singles you wanted to get from the set, because things are about to get annoyingly a little bit silly dumb if you haven't got the singles you want. And let's start off with what is clearly the coolest card in the set, the Special Illustration Rare Mew. First card that Usman did for the Pokemon card game. It's actually playable for what it's worth, which is cool. Draws through, you got 3 cards in your hand, and it's got an attack that can copy any attack of your opponent. It's a very nice Pokemon, sees a bunch of play. But it's also absolutely stunning. It's a Special Illustration Rare, so the pull rates are low. But mostly with cards like this, what happens is that people just kind of decide the card's awesome, and oh my word, it gets silly from there. A year ago, this was a $92 card. Now, don't get me wrong, $92 is not exactly super duper cheap, but for a very popular, sought after Special Illustration Rare, you look at it and you go, all right, fine, I get it, that kind of makes sense. Well, now it's a $700 card. In the space of a year, it has, well, more than septupled in price. It's gone up in price more than 7 times. It was $100. It's now $700. Yeah. Like, it was $400 back at the end of January. Went down to $300 at the beginning of June. That was 3 months ago, if anyone's counting. And since June, it has gotten absolutely... In fact, even at the end of June, it was like $300. And since the end of June, in 2.5 months, this card has gotten absolutely ridiculous. And the problem is, when cards do this, they don't, unfortunately, tend to go back down too quickly when it gets to this level of silly. And maybe it is just a few people pumping it up, and it'll come back down again over time. But right now, things gotten silly, ladies and gentlemen. Things gotten silly. And it's massively outpacing the Charizard, which I think we need to mention here as the number 2 card in the set. Make no mistake about it, here is the graph over the past year. Charizard has also gone ridiculous. A year ago, this was a $105 card. Interestingly, a year ago, this was a little bit higher than Mew. This was like $13 higher than Mew a year ago. Like 15% higher than Mew or something like that. Now, it's 3/7 as Mew. It's less than half. Yeah. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This one's also gotten silly. Especially because this one's Akira Igawa artwork. I'm a big fan of theirs. This might have to be a card that I leave out of my collection. I do have a poster of this that's signed, so maybe that's going to be okay. But, you know, you go back to February, end of January, beginning of February. This is like a $215 card. It's getting a bit silly. But then at the end of June, beginning of July, it's $160. It's gone up by more than 50% since the beginning of July. 2 months about. It has absolutely spiked. It's not just that Paldean Fates is going up. It is that in the past couple of months, we are seeing gigantic spikes for the biggest cards in the set. Well, maybe they're just 2 exceptions. Well, maybe there are. But maybe let's have a look at Gardevoir. A year ago, it's a $40 card. Jumps up to like $95 end of January. Back down to under $75 in mid-July, less than 2 months ago. Now it's a $130 card. I'm not saying that Paldean Fates has been getting progressively more expensive over the past year. In fact, the graphs I'm showing you at the moment they were going up, then they came down, then a massive spike. And that is what we are seeing here, ladies and gentlemen. A truly gigantic spike. And honestly, it's in less than 3 months. It has been less than 3 months since these giant spikes went on. And I just showed you Mew, I showed you Charizard, I showed you Gardevoir. This is kind of happening across the board. This is getting a bit silly. Those are the top 3 cards in the set, though, and they are clearly the top 3. What about some of the others? Well, how about the biggest shiny card in the set? Because that is what the set was really all about. How about the Pikachu? Well, the Pikachu's an odd one. Because if I show you the 3-month graph, we can go, well, hang on a second. Since August, it's jumped from 25 up to 40. There's been a real significant spike. But then you can also see that, that there's an argument that there were a few sales in a small period that really did most of the damage to this one. So if we look at the 3-month graph, we go, okay, this one is going up quite a lot. It's happening like the others did. But what if we look at the 1-year graph here? The 1-year graph is a bit more interesting, because we still do see that gigantic spike from 25 up to 40, but we also see that in February it was a $50 card. Oh, hang on a second. There's an argument that this is, in the past year, this has basically gone from 32 to 39. That is what has happened over the course of the past year. It's going up. It is not going up anything like what we might otherwise be seeing here. This one is absolutely jumping, ladies and gentlemen, but only in the past couple of months. Over the course of the year, it's been going down and up. What does this really mean? It means there was a window. It means that there was a point a couple of months ago where Paldean Fates wasn't going silly. And it means that point has gone. Now, one of the weirder ones for me is the Full Art Mew. This one, kind of consistently over the past year, but with some spikes. $8 card a year ago, $30 card now. And don't get me wrong, I know the Mew is playable, and I know Mew is very popular and all of that. This seems to be getting a little bit of the offshoot from the special illustration rare Mew. Yeah, this shiny Mew is cool, don't get me wrong, but really? $30? Jumping up to 4 times the price in a year? I'm not sure this has necessarily earned it, if I'm entirely honest. Now, there are a few exceptions here. One of the weirdest ones for me is Iono. And if we just look at the last 3 months over on TCG Player, this one is going from a $37 card to a $27 card, which is weird, because usually Iono is quite reliable. Iono is a very popular character. Everybody loves Iono. Generally speaking, you can count on Iono to not be terribly cheap. But apparently that's not the case anymore. This is a wonderful card. We adore the card. The artwork is lovely. Got a bunch of other Pokemon on there like Miss Magius and Bellabo and Wattrel. This seems like an undervalued card, especially compared to what's happening with the rest of the set. But right now, this one is going down. But make no mistake about it, this is very much the exception. If we have a look at some of the other more popular shiny Pokemon around, how about one of my 3-year-old's favorite, Snorlax? Over the course of the last year, pretty consistently up. Went from 13, spiked up at 26 back in March. It's now climbing back up at 22. Like we saw with the Pikachu, there was a point where it came back down in price, but it is now going back up again. Seems like the bigger cards in the set have just gone completely nuts in the past couple of months. The less big cards in the set are still jumping up in the past couple of months, but after a fairly sustained down period. But if you follow the graph fully, they're actually going down before they're coming up. Charmander's a weird one. Charmander's actually coming down, which is weird because it's Charmander. Now, it's only gone from a high of like 27 down to 21, but Charmander should be one of the ones that's holding its value. It's Charmander, another one, incidentally, my 3-year-old is loving at the moment. Charmander should be, and is, one of the higher ones on the list. It's just a little bit weird that this one is coming down. My point here showing you Charmander is there are still some that are not jumping back up. If there are cards from Paldean Fates you're after, like Charmander, there might be an opening. Because then we look at stuff like Ditto, it's gone from 8 to 20 in the past year. Now, admittedly, the high was at the end of March when it hit like $23, but it's already very close to getting back up to there, and within a few weeks we expect it to basically be right back up there. So what can we learn about Paldean Fates and what is going on right now? Essentially, the big cards, and I'm especially looking at the big three, going absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. And although there are a few exceptions like Iono and Shiny Charmander, most of the other cards are going up, but some of them we are still not back up to where we were a few months ago. Maybe this is the point to try and pick some of them up before it's too late. Either way, I've told you what's going on with Paldean Fates now, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of this in the comment section. Tell me which cards you picked up. Tell me which cards you haven't picked up yet, and whether you're going to be rushing to grab some of these now. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.